disagree so much. Objectify me, go ahead. It's Friday, so you know what that means. Let's welcome tonight's guest. Well, he's hotter than a Hezbollah pager. Co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, Pete Hexen. Like the sandwich, this Reuben is a pile of meat on two tasty buns. Host of the Reuben Report, Dave Reuben. You can't control her, even with a baby stroller. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Cat Tim. And he hired a team of landscapers to trim his beard. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion, We're in. All right. Fair enough. Before we get to some news stories, let's do this. This shirt is
Greg's Leftovers.
It's bothering me, this shirt. Okay, sorry. It's Leftovers, where I read the jokes we didn't use this week, and as always, it's my first time reading them, so if they suck, we'll dress Joe Mackey as a nanny and send him to Doug Emhoff. An article in The Atlantic said Donald Trump was speaking like Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini. Well, at least he's speaking German, Russian, and Italian, which is a stark contrast with Kamala, who struggles with English. According to the Daily Signal, Kamala Harris was admitted to law school through a program for students with educational disadvantages, economic hardship, or disability. All right, both of her parents were professors, which makes the educational disadvantage and the economic hardship sound implausible. So that leaves disability. I'll give her that. Nearly 100 members of Britain's left-wing Labour Party plan to come to the States to campaign for Kamala. Democrats taking them in as house guests have been instructed to leave out glasses of water for their teeth. Hall of Fame boxer Tommy Hitman Hearns joined Donald Trump on stage at a rally in Detroit. How ironic, Hearns fought 67 times, yet it's Kamala's fans with the brain damage. Yeah, low blow. In an NBC interview, Kamala claims Joe Biden was capable in every way, adding, "You should have seen him bob and weave when Pelosi was stabbing him." When asked why she's performing badly with men, Kamala replied, "Come to my events and you'll see there are men at those events," leaving out that they were all waiting in line to use the ladies' room. As Subway hero Daniel Penny's trial begins, his lawyer said he's going to try to put jurors in that train car. And for added realism, he will ask the bailiff to pee on them. That's what happens on the subway, people. Bill Clinton called Arizona Senate candidate Kari Lake physically attractive. She'll look even better in her casket, says one woman. A small Ohio town has seen its population nearly double after 3,000 migrants were dumped there by the Biden administration. On the upside, they've seen their stray pet population cut in half.
Upside.
I can't believe he said that. An AI camera mounted in a toilet will take photographs of people's bowel movements to look for health problems. So it's illegal when I do it. Oh, but it's fine if it's a robot. Ursa Hersey, daughter of Ilhan Omar, has been receiving reparations from her white friends, even though she's not descended from slaves. In a related story, Ilhan's brother never returned the wedding gifts he received when he married his sister. Just kidding. Not really. Legendary pop star Cher gave a heartfelt speech when she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, saying, "I just wish my original face could have been here." She is the first inductee to have more artificial parts than the trophy, so good on her. Meanwhile, fellow inductee Ozzy Osbourne was the first acceptance speech to be translated from English to English. One of World War II's last Navajo code talkers has died at the age of 107. His eulogy will be given by one of his surviving comrades. Never fails. Nicole Kidman had to pause during her new movie's sex scenes because she was exhausted from faking orgasms. "You get used to it," said one woman.
That should have made the show.
Yes, yes. According to a new poll, the average American consumes 80 pounds of sugar every year. Although this guy really threw off the curve. All right, enough. So according to Bob Woodward's new book, War, Joe Biden was disturbingly frail and confused at campaign fundraisers over a year before his debate debacle. I know. That's like finding out Joy Behar has a weakness for kielbasa. Of course, it's news now because Woodward has a book to sell. I mean, seriously, what would be the upside of letting the free world know they're being led by a corpse? In the book, Woodward quotes a donor as saying that during one fundraiser in June 2023, Biden could not wait to sit down and only took 2 prearranged questions. According to another attendee, he was like your 87-year-old senile grandfather. Yeah, I wish. At a New York event the following month, another observer says, quote, "He never completed a sentence. He would start to talk about something, jump somewhere else. He told the same story 3 times in exactly the same way, and it meandered so much. Frankly, my impression was there were times it was though we didn't exist. He was just rambling and talking as to what came into his head." Well, that sounds familiar. But of course, up until the debate disaster, the White House and the media all insisted Biden was better than ever. Sharp as a tack, running rings around staffers 1/3 his age. Rumor had it he even beat Randy Weingarten's record for the deadlift. Yet we could see with our own eyes that it was bull. And the whole time, Woodward knew, and he didn't tell us because he wanted to sell a lousy book. Usually to have journalist standards that low, you have to work here. But imagine what would have happened if Woodward had reported on this 16 months ago. Imagine if the Dems had been forced to rip off the Band-Aid and admit the old man was finished. Maybe the DNC would have found a better candidate altogether. Like this. Or this. Or this. It would have been painful for them, but not nearly as painful as the past 3 months. But remember, not only did Kamala Harris help engineer Biden's removal from the ticket, she still left him in place as part of the cover-up. She didn't introduce the 25th Amendment. So you not only had an unelected awful candidate installed onto the ticket, you had a decrepit, incapable leader allowed to stay and run the most vital country in the world, fraught with tenuous relationships with other superpowers. Thanks, Bob. This raises another question. If the 25th Amendment was threatened but not invoked, why? Well, forget Joe. It would have been a disaster for Kamala. Given the problems with Russia, China, the Middle East, they couldn't let the country see her as president for 6 remaining months. But Woodward kept Biden's decline under wraps, which led to the coup, installing Kamala without a primary. And once you betray Americans in the most basic regard, it becomes that much easier to betray them in everything else. So if you're a Dem and you want to get mad at somebody, it's not Trump. It's Woodward and the rest of the media who covered for this charade. Bob could have saved you from all of this horrible fate, Dems, but that wouldn't have made the bestseller list. Pete, you've had a #1 bestseller, so you understand what I'm talking about.
It's true. I could have spoken out a lot earlier.
Yes, and you didn't, and shame on you.
Shame on me.
And your patriotic socks. But you know what's funny? It is like, this is always the case with like Woodward and other exposés. They hold on to the news. that should have been released earlier because it's better for the book.
They could have held on to that Nixon news, too.
Yeah.
For a book.
Yes.
They just didn't seem to. They had to get it out right away.
Exactly.
Back old Bob. It almost seems like he's playing for one team here.
Yeah.
I mean, we know how that all works. I've said that for years. A lot of people have. Books will be written. This is the only first one. You're pointing the finger at Bob, and rightfully so, but there are dozens of Bobs. There's a Jill. There's everybody else in the White that knew exactly what was going down even before 2023.
Yeah.
They put their own political interests in front of the country. This is the first book. It will not be the last. We saw it all before our eyes. Imagine what was behind the scenes. These are probably the most tepid quotes he got. I bet it was worse.
Right.
I bet he got worse. This is just the most he could say to sell a book, to your point.
It's the dog that wasn't barking. Whether it's the state of Biden's brain, the coup that followed, and now we have these revelations. The media should be like saying, like, hold on a second. You know, where were the journalists then, Dave?
Greg, in 2019, Joe Biden told a story about a man he met named Corn Pop.
Yeah.
And he met this man at a pool while children were rubbing the hair on his legs.
Yes.
And he's then said that that is how he learned about roaches.
Right.
That's when I had a clue. So
All right, I got to ask you, so we haven't talked. It's like, what is it, 10 days now? 10 days?
10
What's your
days.
gut telling you?
I came on this program on the opening night of Gutfeld with an exclamation point. You were a little-known cable show guy.
Little known.
Wow. Wow. And this is your
I
last
don't know,
appearance.
Men's Fitness or something, and I came on
Men's
this show,
Health.
and Men's Health, and see, nobody knew, and I predicted that you would be #1 in late night within 6 months. You did it in 3 months, and that is why tonight I will predict that 45 will be 47. Donald Trump.
Ah, yeah.
Whoa.
So, Kat, does it bother you when journalists hold stuff that we should, like, that meant that this country, and it still is, by the way, is run by somebody who isn't there.
Yeah. But also, I kind of, like you, had a bit of an idea myself, even without their journalism.
Yes.
You know, whenever I saw him.
Yeah.
Like, 2023, that's way late to be realizing this. If you were to ever watched him ever, because 2022 was the oil cancer, let's not forget.
Yes.
That's
he
when
got oil cancer
he
from
got
his
out in
windshield?
public and said, I have oil cancer, and so damn many of my friends have oil cancer too. And then the journalists covered it. They were like, right-wing media says Biden said he has cancer. And it's like, okay, well, he did. And if you're saying that you have cancer and you don't have cancer, that's never okay.
No, it's not.
Also, that same year was the "Where's Jackie" thing. Looking out loud, is very confused about why a person's not in the room who is dead. I mean, it's like the signs weren't there. That's why I read this stuff. I'm like, they're like, oh, in a meeting in 2023, a year past oil cancer, people saw him confused. Like, okay, this book. I mean, obviously it's very interesting to people, but for me, I'm like, duh. It was the most obvious thing in the world.
That would be a great review for the New York Times.
Duh.
Like by Kat Timpf, it'd just be duh.
Where have you been?
Yeah. But still
Where have you
demand payment for that review because it's worth it.
People are like, wow, this is really bad. And it was a whole year before the debate. It's like, there was years before. Like, guys, come on.
Yeah. What do you say, Tyrus?
Well, to be fair, he wasn't exactly Shakespeareing it up before in the Senate. You know,
That's true.
But again, when someone is leaving with the ghosts after they speak, you let them go.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times he was pulled from the light that we saw on TV when his invisible friend took his hand. Like, no, come with us, Joe. Come with us. And everyone's watching. And like, no, no, no. And they're like, the ghost's like, we're trying to help him.
Yes.
Come with us.
It's his uncle who was eaten by cannibals. The food is good here.
When October 7th happened,
Yeah.
And the president of the United States response was don't.
Yeah.
You kind of know up. Don't. That's what we got. Don't. You know, like that's. And again, because Kat and I, we always live for prequels. We try to find out where the word don't came from. Maybe it was a powerful word in the Biden family crest. You don't know. Like, in my family crest is my. Like, when you say that, when I say that, everyone in my family, oh, Tyrus is serious now. Don't was there. And it goes all the way back to his great uncle, to which you were talking about, who had the worst day a human being has ever had in his life.
Yeah.
He's fighting in the air against Nazis. He gets shot out, survives, lands in the ocean, swims through sharks and submarines, gets to an island. He picks the one island that eats people. That's a bad day. And before he can even say anything, he's grabbed by these natives, dragged, thrown in a pot. The water's boiling. They're cutting the potatoes and the carrots. And as they go to put the lid down, we heard the famous don't.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.